Where am I? I'm in my new room. So I just want to talk about some changes and some like mental health struggles. I don't think it's okay for mothers to scream at their daughters to get their point across. You are also going to start feeling like there's something wrong with you because the fear to be misunderstood is a very difficult conversation to have. Hello, girlies. I know I look beat. I just woke up actually, you know what? Anyways, girlies, hello. Good freaking afternoon. I was gonna say good morning. We're gonna do a little get ready with me while I chit chat. I'm leaving at like 2:30, so I still have a long time before I have to leave. It's currently 1:29 and I just feel like chit chatting. But before that, a different background. Where am I? I'm in my new room. Basically, my room right now, the second floor, is so I am currently in a new room. As you can tell from the background, it might look a little different for all my loyal subscribers. You might know, yes, I changed the room. I did not move out. Well, technically I did, but I moved out. So this was Katfa's room, and I decided to move here because my two little sisters, Tina and Sarah, they used to share a room, but because Tina is like basically a young adult now and Sarah is a teenager, it was just better for them to have separate rooms, and it only makes sense for me to move up. So yeah, it was a whole crazy situation moving up, but we did. Anyhow, I want to do a little get ready with me while I chit chat about certain things because I just think it's more natural for me to be getting ready, chit chatting. It feels like we're on FaceTime. So something that I want to talk about today is just basically how you change and how your relationship with your family changes, and simultaneously with your friends as well. So we're just going to jump into like how I feel about just being back at my parents' house this time, because this is the longest I've been. Usually I'll be back for like max 2 weeks, but this is the longest, and honestly it has taught me so much. Obviously a lot of the things I sort of knew because I read books, and like I guess the knowledge was there, the awareness was there. It's just that the application of this knowledge only came through when I'm finally like settled down here in my parents' house. So I just want to talk about some changes and some like mental health struggles. I think like for many people it's a taboo to be talking about things like this, even though it's like freaking 2025. But I like to talk about it because I don't know, I like to be authentic with what I feel and what I go through. But obviously there's like a boundary lah. I wouldn't tell you everything because that's my privacy, and vice versa. You shouldn't be telling all your problems to everyone. With that being said, yeah, go to therapy if you're struggling. Don't be telling everyone your problems, and most importantly, do not project your issues to everyone, because God forbid everyone has a life and the world does not revolve around you, quite literally. Sometimes we don't even realize that we're projecting to other people. So please sit down with yourself for a minute and have a little bit of awareness. Anyhow, I am gonna get ready. I'm gonna have like a me time for myself. I'm gonna go out, and I also want to edit my YouTube video. I just want to like have some time with myself. Face is like iced, and I placed on toner pads as well. My face is very sensitive at the moment. I had a pico laser done and they increased the intensity. I'm trying to get my freckles removed. Yeah, it's just like my face is just really sensitive right now. It's really panas and dry and yeah, all that jazz. So moisturizer is vital. Let's talk about like I don't know, I guess like my mental health struggle. I think one of the things that I'm struggling the most right now is like the fear to be misunderstood. Like I just don't like it when people misunderstand me, but also at the same time, it's not just that, it's deeper than that, which is my need for control. And that's inevitably true. Everyone would, feel the need to want to control in their lives. That's why we have routines, that's why we plan. So there's like goods and the bads. But anyways, girlies, I am putting on some sunscreen, and I've been loving this one from Glad to Go. I just feel like it brightens my face in a nice way. Like it glows on my face. I don't know how to explain it. I'm scared of people not liking me, and I think this leads to like my people pleasing tendency. So I will do everything to make sure that I'm in favor of that person. And sometimes macam it's weird to say out loud, tapi I do it. okay, subconsciously, which is why I'm pointing it out. It's like one of my mental health struggle. And why is this so? It's because I'm back at my parents' house, and just growing up, there's this like teaching that my parents sort of imparted. Yes, this is it, and this is the household. Anyone calls me, I will not reply immediately. Like, that's something I've learned. Best to just like reply on message, because it's like everyone is impatient anyways. I want time for myself. So my people pleasing tendency, and it's been bad because it has taken a toll on my mental health in ways that I couldn't imagine. And all these like confusion stems from the fact that like I'm not being true to myself. I'm not listening to what I actually want for myself, but instead I'm listening to what the other person wants for me, or what they want for themselves from me to benefit themselves, you know. And my thoughts are always clouded because I'm just growing up having that parental sort of figure, putting people before themselves, have taught me that we help people. We don't really think about why we should help people because helping people is good, something like that lah. So it's been distorting my perception on a lot of things, and it did for a while. I think last 2 weeks it took a toll on my mental health. So I'm finally speaking out about this because something very major recently happened, and long story short, I did have like sort of a quarrel or an argument with my mom. And you guys know I don't really have like a tight-knit bond with my mom, and I'm open to saying that because I think a lot of daughters struggle to have a relationship with their moms, but they're just too afraid to say it. And I'm not saying this because I want to villainize my mom, or so that I've been told, or in other words, I want to victimize myself. No, for anyone who thinks that way, first of all, very judgmental of you to be saying all that. Why are you so judgmental? Why can't we be curious as to why I feel the need to say this? Why can't we jump into curiosity and discuss about things like this? So sort of that thing. I'm not telling you that I hate my mom or anything. Like, for God's sake, I'm discussing about it because I want to have a relationship with her. I want to understand where she's coming from, and at the same time I don't want to neglect my feelings. So on that note, I feel like it's true, a lot of daughters struggle to have a relationship with their mothers because, especially, I'm not sure about you, but like I just feel like in general, like me growing up, what I've been told is that like your mothers are like very important people. And obviously I don't know how it is for you growing up, tapi for me, just growing up, your mothers are like being put in a very high, on the highest hierarchy, because they're your mothers and you just have to respect them. But the truth is, if it's taking a toll on you, or in other words, they're disrespecting you, they're not respecting you as a human, then how am I supposed to do that, right? It's a very difficult conversation to have, but I think it is very important to have, because like it's these silent battles that people go through. So I guess it's not that I want to be the voice. I think so many people talk about it. It's just that, like, coming from my own culture and my upbringing, I struggle a lot with it, and it just breaks my heart, honestly. Long story short, I don't think it's okay for mothers to scream at their daughters to get their point across. I don't think it's okay for them to guilt trip you into manipulating your decisions in life. I think that there's a more caring and loving way to communicate with your daughters without, minus all the manipulation tactics, because like women, we are very emotional creatures, that I know. And I just feel like we can redirect all that anger and that pent up resentment to a more loving, empathetic, understanding way, and not the wounded feminine way. And I understand that, for instance, my mother, maybe your mother, they had parents and mothers from their time who had wounded femininity. But the question is like, until how long are we going to let this go on? You know, the awareness is there. So it's a matter of time for you and I to take action, to step in and try a different approach. Which leads me to this conversation where when you're the one trying to make it make sense and not trying to play into the pattern, you are the problematic one. And it's not only you are going to be perceived as a problematic one. You are also going to start feeling like there's something wrong with you because, you know, what I've noticed is that when, for example, when mothers are hurt, they tend to like, showcase that they're hurt. Not only are you affected by her sadness and her anger, but she's going to impart that onto everyone else in the family. So the first one will be her husband. So then automatically you will get scolded by your dad, or you're going to get interfered by your dad, and then she's going to start talking about it to her other children and all the other children. If you're the younger one, then you're going to get a little lecture by your elder siblings. And so, but the question is like, if you want me to listen to you, are you listening from me? Do you know what I mean? So this is where it gets difficult, and finally leads to like my one whole conclusion is that in this context, if you feel, for me example, when I feel like I'm not being heard, I stop explaining myself literally, and I start to sit down and talk to people, reach out to people who can listen and understand from both POVs, and assert myself as much as I can and put myself first. I don't explain my decisions anymore. I don't ask for permission for my decisions anymore. I simply just live. Because if you continue to bend over backwards for all these kind of people, you're essentially just living to please. You're living like an entertainer. You're basically performing for them. And for what? You have to live your life for yourself, even if it means making other people misunderstand you, and that can be like a really hurtful feeling. One thing though that really triggers me and messes up with me is when someone screams. I don't like it when someone wants to talk to me and suddenly they have a very like authoritative tone with no context. Ni macam tibanya aku, kenapa tiba-tiba kau nak marah akunya? You know what I mean? Triggers me because I think it's just like growing up, I'm not allowed to make mistakes. So dia macam, it's that little girl macam fear in me. So every time I feel like I'm getting triggered, I will always macam, okay, little Trisha, cry it out. It's okay. It's okay to cry because screaming is not normal. Okay? So if I'm crying, that means it's okay. And then I'll think about, okay, how should I respond to this? Right? How should I respond to this? It's not easy. I think if mothers scream, it's like a different kind of reaction. Tapi if your father scream, it's also like a whole different kind of reaction. Long story short, both of them are not okay, and we should not tolerate or enable these sort of things onto us. And you know, if you have a lot of siblings, you'll notice that some of the siblings might carry sort of the similar characteristics as either one of the parents lah. Consecutively, I would also feel triggered also with certain siblings if I sense like sort of that similarity traits, even with outsiders as well. But I always tell myself, you know, it's okay, little Trisha, because the truth is, it's not me right now yang macam yang rasa sedih. The truth is like it's my trauma being resurfaced from the trigger. So I have to remind myself that this is not the same situation as before. I'm 23 years old and I'm an adult and I'm responsible for how I act. So let's act responsibly. Let's act as humanly as possible. Yeah, so that was like a bit of like a rant on, I guess, going down into the whole thought process of maternal and paternal wound. But I think right now I'm specifying more on maternal wound. And so with that, I think like also in like our society, maybe like not society, I think it's globally, it's you want to have a relationship with your parents or with your mother, tapi if it's just not it, macam mana? But I've already told myself kalau apa-apa kan, I don't want to force myself into relationships. I don't want to force connection. If it's gonna flow, it will flow. If it's not gonna flow, then it's okay. Tak payah paksa-paksa. I tak nak pura-pura senyum tapi dalam I sakit. Buat apa? Right? Buat apa? I want to live my life as honestly as possible, because in that way will I be able to like shine inside and out. Faham tak? And I can live peacefully. And there was a time in my life that like I thought the only way to cure sort of all this trauma and wound was through agama, like Islam, because that's what I was taught. Orang selalu cakap, okay, kalau nak ubat hati baca Quran. Betul, tu betul. Tapi kan I rasa kalau you still tak boleh nak communicate properly how you feel, you solat lah macam mana pun, tapi after you solat you still akan jerit-jerit ke orang lain, cakap tak elok. What difference does that make? Tak diubati. Spiritually boleh diubati to calm yourself down, but you also have to do the other work, which is to understand and navigate through your traumas and your wounds. You tengok kalau you terjatuh, you tak boleh jatuh expect terus baik, betul tak? You kena make sure tak kena air, make sure dia kering supaya tak ada kena infection, secondary infection. So in other words, you need to take care of the wound. Sama juga dengan wound dekat dalam hati tu atau kat otak you. You know what I mean? Tapi I think that's the thing. Our society fails to do that because this sort of awareness was never brought to them. People from the past generation lah. Because lack of, I don't know, awareness. Macam sekarang kan, everyone's talking about mental health. And I don't think it's okay to be shaming people to go to therapy or talk about mental health. For shaming people for trying, for God's sake. You know what I mean? I get very worked up about this because I struggle with it too, guys. Yeah. And I know you guys like it when I talk about it. Tapi I don't always talk about it because I'm also human and I don't have, consistent strength to be like talking about this. Like, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm just speaking from experience and just like sharing with you, and also at the same time just raising the conversations about for anyone who feels like they're going through it alone. If anything kan, macam it's so hard to listen to yourself. I'll just say this lah. Just put yourself first. Buat apa yang boleh bantu you, bukan bantu orang lain. As difficult as that may sound. I don't know about you because I'm a people pleaser. Sometimes dia terkeluar. Kadang-kadang dia tak keluar. Kadang-kadang dia terkeluar. Faham ke? Alamak. So macam this time I punya people pleasing tendency terkeluar lah. So bila dia dah terkeluar, memang I akan terkesan. Kalau dia tak terkeluar, I tak terkesan. And would we be having this conversation? Tak lahnya. Kalau tak boleh cakap no ke apa ke, dengar sini. You keluar kan, pergi makan. Pergi makan makanan yang you nak. Lepas tu pergi buatlah apa yang you patut. Tu je. And then apa yang orang lain cakap tu, you tak payah reply immediately. You bagi yourself some time. You dah buat apa you nak, baru you reply. Orang marah ke, orang cakap kenapa ni, kenapa tu, you know what? Kiri kanan, done. You know why? Because what I realised is that sometimes kan, orang ni marah because it's not about you tau, and it's not about the situation or whatever. Maybe it is, part of it is, it triggered them. Tapi it's more about their need for control. Because humans literally do not settle well with uncertainty. Yeah. I mean, why else would we be scared of death if it's not uncertain? Anyhow, I think my makeup is done and I think I've said enough. I have a few things that I want to do. And, hopefully my face is not too red. Is it too red? It's okay if it's red. And that's enough. I'll see you in my next video. Take care of yourself and I love you.